I cry watching the days. To see I'm a fool. So many ways, but to lose all my senses. That is just so typically me, oh baby, oh. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart. Got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love. Dancing from above. I'm not that innocent.
Oops. They did it again. They tried to kill Donald Trump. They tried to kill the fucking president again. And they fucking missed.
My old girlfriend. What's up with that?
That was Britney Spears back when she was young and hot and fresh and a little bit less weird. But oops, I did it again. Somehow I thought that was appropriate for this evening's show. Welcome to Toxically Masculine Tuesday, a Real News Live special edition starring these four guys here. I am your host, Mike Barra, in Las Vegas, Nevada, joined, as I always am, by the guy right below me, well, I don't want to say that, but TV's Blake Wally, epic, intrepid reporter. TV's Blake, I'm getting fucking senile.
I thought he was a color
TV's Blake Wally, somewhere in east of California. Actually, I forgot. I am drinking tonight out of my Seahawks glass. I am drinking a Jeremiah red beer tonight. Nice. Blake, how you doing? And what are you drinking?
Doing well. Great to be here. I am going to be drinking a little Frontier whiskey, a Bullet.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Nice, and Blake's got that salt and pepper beard going too that all the bitches love. Bitches, if you're in the chat,
I hate Blake. I hate his guts.
I hate his hair.
All the women make comments about Blake.
Oh, you should have seen it. You should have seen it last year when he had long hair and he was doing the Snake Plissken thing from Escape from New York. Yeah, okay, yeah. They were just fawning over him. So. It was bad. Also joined tonight by a regular member of the crew, my buddy, the guy I met in Jacksonville in 2017, now one of my best buddies on the planet, the awesome, the epic, the man who would be cop, Steve Doran, the Trail Boss. Steve, how you doing tonight? What are you drinking?
Good. I'm drinking Rock and Rye, Faygo Rock and Rye.
Wow.
And I normally I don't take any sugar in normally, but I am a Faygo addict. I grew up in Detroit, and it was one of the go-to beverages for everybody there, and I just can't go to Detroit and not grab one.
Well, now, Steve, I want to make sure I'm not a bad influence, because most of you people don't know this, but a certain very aggressive disease tried to kill Steve about 4 years ago, and Steve strangled it, and kind of like Krug, the Klingon in Star Trek 3, just strangled it, tore its head off, and threw it away. But I don't want you to be drinking stuff you shouldn't be drinking just because you're on the show.
Dude, that's the only sugar I have had in probably the past 4 years. I mean, like deliberate sugar.
Awesome.
I can do honey. I can eat honey all day long. I can do
that's okay.
Fruit and things like that. I just can't. I like white sugar is like my enemy.
Well, it's everybody's
really like an enemy.
It's everybody's enemy. I just got my A1C back this week. All right. Also joined by the internet's Brian Engelman, our buddy from the Strictly Football Show on Thursday. Brian, I might have an issue with Thursday, but we'll talk about it. I'm trying to remember.
We might need to tweak the schedule, you're saying?
No, tomorrow's my busy day. I don't know. I think I'll be okay. Anyway, our Blake's buddy, my buddy, and intrepid reporter, the internet's Brian Engelman. Brian, how you doing tonight, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing great. Fun fact, when I was in college, I worked with a marketing company based out of New York, and I got paid to go hand out CDs, CD samplers in front of concerts. I got paid to take a duffel bag and hand out CDs to people going into the Britney Spears concert, and I got fifth row tickets for free, and it was a heck of a show. Today,
like a bunch of gay dudes dancing around. Yeah, I guess it's a good show, but no, I don't really want. That's not a concert from my perspective.
If there were dudes dancing around Britney, I was too fixated to know.
You were unaware.
So, today I am sponsored, not quite sponsored, by Trader Joe's. I have Trader Joe's tequila. I have Trader Joe's. It's like an orange clementine or something soda water. Half of that, and then half of seltzer. It's like a soda mixed with pineapple. So I kind of have a pseudo margarita here. Less sugar though.
That sounds too fucking complicated. Why don't you just drink a beer like everybody else? You know, come on, Brian. Get some.
You're getting paid.
Yeah, we need to test.
Look, I may have had a margarita with dinner, so I wanted to stay on the same path. That's all.
Well, that's true. You don't want to throw up later because that's never fun.
Exactly. But thank you for bringing up Strictly Football. Mike and I are on episode 3 coming up this week, hopefully Thursday at 5 p.m.
We're gonna make it. Right, now that I think about it, I think my busy day is actually tomorrow, not Thursday. My days of the week are all screwed up. I have no idea what day it is.
They get all mixed together, and Blake, you have an open invitation anytime you want to talk football. But Mike's the Seahawks fan. I'm a Browns fan. But on this show, we just kind of cover the entire league. What's happening?
It's been a fun show. It's been great to do.
I'm looking forward to it every week. So,
right. Yeah, and what we should do is we should actually go through all the mean tweets that I get for the things I say about the Seahawks, because I tell people the truth. Like, Geno Smith's just not that good, and I get so much shit for it. It's pretty funny. So we'll
do a whole segment of Seahawks fans clap back at Mike.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think I bring it on myself. All right. By the way,
take a nap. You're boring me.
I'm sorry, Steve. By the way, I know a girl, Julia Kamen, who was at the last October Las Vegas event here in Las Vegas, who was Britney Spears' stand-in and body double for many years. And I got to get her to come back out here to Vegas again. Maybe we'll get her on the show. Julie is awesome. She's a remote viewer now. She does some cool stuff. So, all right, guys, let's get to the news. That's what everybody's here for. Rumble is not playing. Rick, I hear you say that a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to help me set up Rumble, but it sounds like you're having Rumble issues too.
I don't think so. It looks like it's playing. Yeah, it looks like it's playing. So from my perspective, I think it's okay. All right. This week, again, we had another assassination attempt on Donald Trump. A couple of months ago, Donald Trump slaughtered Joe Biden in a debate, and they tried to kill him a few days later. Joe Biden again slaughtered Kamswala Horace in a debate the other night, and they tried to kill him a couple of days later. This time, again, there's a lot of things about this that don't add up, that don't make sense. Among them, the thing that I think is, by the way, I have to, in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I have to go take my pizza out. So you guys better be interesting. Anyway, one of the things that's most fascinating about this is that this was the cover of Time magazine online just a few days ago on 9/11, showing Donald Trump on a golf course with the caption, "In trouble." Yeah, you could say being shot at with an AK-47, you could be in trouble. You got to wonder if they actually knew it. Also, then they knew something was going to happen. Also, there's a few other things that came up. If you go through this list, let's go back up and look at MSNBC appears to have been secretly filming Donald Trump on the golf course. There's me.
This is unbelievable.
Let me show this, and I'm not sure this footage is actually from. Yeah, here it is.
So there's an inevitable sit down with protectees across the Secret Service spectrum about open air events. This is going to happen. I guarantee you. The question I can't answer right now is whether each protectee is going to go with the program. In other words, will Donald Trump, if encouraged by the Secret Service to stop golfing, or to change golf courses or do something, you know, that's far more protected, will he abide by that? I think in these remaining weeks, I would take the advice of security professionals.
No, fuck you. That's not going to happen. Okay, so again, gentlemen, what I think is bizarre about this is that it does appear that they were filming him on the golf course the day of the shooting. Nobody knew that he was going to go play golf until an hour or so before this, except 2 people did know, and I find them pretty interesting. And we'll talk about the actual shooting. But first, well, I don't know. Maybe we should start with the shooting. Steve, you've probably been covering this. You kind of know what's going on here. The guy had an AK-47 style rifle.
He had a SKS.
SKS. So let's
been modified to take magazines.
Let's talk about the weapon and let's talk about the details. And we'll start with you, Steve. What do you have to tell us about what you think about this whole situation?
I mean, first of all, you know, it was definitely a setup. Somebody told the shooter where he would be, when he would be there. The weapon that he used is a fairly accurate rifle. If they went to the trouble of having it customized, I'm sure they had it accurized as well. He should have been able to hit his target, no problem. The Secret Service has been using protection models that everybody else has quit using, you know, years and years ago. The acting director of the Secret Service is like, oh, it's because we were on top of this and we were doing our job that the shooter wasn't able to effectively kill the president, blah, blah, blah. It was basically accidental that the Secret Service agent ran across this guy and took a few shots at him with his handgun. But, you know, the long and the short of it is, how does, just like during the debate, you know, how did the moderators know that, oh, you know, that's not true. Nobody's eating cats in Springfield, Ohio. And by the way, I did go through Springfield, Ohio, and they are eating cats and dogs and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the reality is there's somebody on the inside feeding them information, telling you know, the shooters or, you know, these people who are trying to do harm to President Trump, where he's going to be, when he's going to be there, where to set up. And then, of course, our shooter also worked for Blackwater and was in one of their videos. Mm-hmm. So what is the coincidence of that 2 shooters both worked for Blackwater, both were in their videos, and have intelligence information that no one else has. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And yet, you know, the FBI is doing the investigation. Well, we're coming up. We just think it's political. The guy watched the news. He was unhappy with President Trump. And, you know, what a bunch of baloney.
You know, it's just so weird to think about. Guys, was the debate really 7 days ago? Were we just gathered here on Toxically Masculine Tuesday 7 days ago for the Kamala Trump debate? It feels like this happened about 3 years ago. Is it just me? But all time feels completely distorted right now, Blake.
Well, and the other issue is with the debate. You know, I mean, it was so lopsided, it was ridiculous. I was actually mobile at that point and had to leave you guys, but the stuff that I saw was absolutely ridiculous. Moderators aren't supposed to say anything. They're supposed to ask questions, and they're supposed to shut their mouth and ask the next question. They're not supposed to comment. And how did they have all of this information? You know, that, you know, if they didn't know what was going to be asked before it was asked.
Yeah. By the way,
and of course, I told you she was wearing a listening device so that they could talk in her ear. And sure enough, you know, I could tell by the way she turned her head, because everybody, for whatever reason, when they have a listening device, when somebody starts talking to them, they turn their head a certain way. And of course, it was proven that she had one.
Right. All right. So here's the thing that really gets under my skin about this more than anything else, Blake, is that there has to be, as Steve said, somebody in the Trump camp that is leaking this information. It's either Secret Service. Well, I know that's Secret Service, but look, there are two names that pop out to me immediately, and those two names are Lindsey Graham and Sean Hannity. Do you think either one of them? I know Lindsey Graham is a traitor, and he wants Trump dead. So, what do you think about that possibility, and just what are your thoughts on this latest bungled assassination attempt?
Sorry. Wasn't sure if you were directing this one at me. I do agree to some extent. Lindsey Graham would absolutely be a part of that. I wouldn't trust him at all. I don't know about Sean Hannity. I'm going to give him a little benefit of the doubt. He could if he's really trying to get in, but he's always seemed like he's been had a good relationship with Trump. I don't think he would go that far. I know he has moved out to Florida.
Well, I mean, he threw him under the bus in the court case on Fox News where he said, "Oh, I knew there was no voter fraud." He literally said there's no voter fraud. I mean, it's one thing if you say, "I don't know if there was enough to overturn the election." So he stabbed Trump in the back the first chance he had. Sorry, just had to jump in there with that one. Go ahead.
No, that's absolutely fair. So that's an interesting whodunit. Another possibility. Of course, we've got DHS and FBI could be absolutely leaking anything. We're trying to hope that maybe good elements within the Secret Service, at least the ones close to Trump, wouldn't do something like that. You got people at the golf course. But the thing is, somebody tipped him off. And as Steve is saying, I don't know if he was in a BlackRock commercial, but he was in a Ukrainian propaganda video. So he is well known to a lot of these intelligence assets, and they should have been keeping tabs on him. And there is some sort of connection, which is probably part of the reason why the FBI, the feds, got a hold of him. I know Ron DeSantis was acting like he was going to keep
the guy has been arrested multiple times. It's like he should be in prison.
I think 19 times
for illegally having fully automatic weapons. He was arrested for having weapons of mass destruction, explosives. He hasn't done one freaking day in prison.
He sounds like Hunter Biden to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's probably buddies with Hunter Biden.
I mean,
yeah,
they get away with everything.
He's a radical
left. He doesn't stay in prison. Yeah.
Right. And he's a radical left, Trump-hating Biden-Harris supporter. Brian, what are your thoughts on this thing? What questions do you still have?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts about the mole. Regarding the mole, somebody being on the inside, it's been said that at this particular course, around that area, what was it, the 5th and 6th hole, I believe? That is a known area where photographers have been able to get photographs and video of him making the turn around, whatever the logistics are. It's been known that if you're in this area roughly, you can get some footage of him if you wait long enough and you catch it at the perfect time. Now, I do know somebody that works at a Trump golf course, and I do get messages when, hey, Trump's at the course today. I get a text immediately from somebody at one of the courses, and that could be what happened in this case. It's a matter of, well, how did this guy know? Because this wasn't a campaign stop. It's not like, and by the way, speaking of campaign stops, we can discuss the wisdom of, I guess Trump's going to come out. Is it Georgia, Alabama? He's going to go out for like number 1 versus number 3 or something in 2 weeks, and trying to figure out the wisdom of that in an open air stadium of 85,000 people. But just trying to figure out the logistics of how much danger are we in with the mole right now? Is this stuff coming out from somebody at Department of Homeland Security? Is it somebody on the Secret Service? Or like in this particular case, did somebody just, hey, Trump's coming out today? But the weird part for me is hearing that this guy camped out for 12 hours and they were able to identify. Some of the reports are saying that he hid in the bushes in this particular spot for 12 hours. This was not a campaign stop that was announced a couple weeks in advance to sell tickets and handle the logistics. This was a last second change. So it's almost like someone would have had to get there as soon as it was announced. So yeah, I'm very concerned about the mole aspect. I'm also hearing questions being raised. Did these two shooters know each other? Is there any overlap with handlers? I'm curious to hear about that. Like I mentioned when you were getting your pizza, I hope the pizza's fantastic, by the way.
It looks amazing. I can't wait to eat it, but I'm going to
almost smell it from here.
Go first, right?
No, but I am curious. It's just so weird to think that the debate was a week ago. It feels like it was 3 years ago. Because in the moment when the debate was happening, obviously we caught Kamala lying and pushing hoaxes and like obvious lies. But at the time, it kind of felt like a draw. There weren't really any major catchphrase announcements.
Yeah.
In the past week, it's all gone against Kamala. It's all gone against her. Is that they've been fact checked? They've looked at ABC, said, hold on, you only fact check one side, and you're going to let your sorority sister get away with everything when she's obviously lying. This has aged so poorly for Kamala. I think their internal polls probably push them to make their second attempt, because there is zero chance Kamala can win an honest election in 2024.
No, I agree. I agree with you. The latest
she doesn't even know that we have troops in hostile areas around the world.
Yeah.
I know.
She has no idea. And she's the vice president of the United States.
She knew, she just lied about it, is what I think. She knows very well what she said was a lie, and she lied about it anyway. So, I mean, look, Brian, you raise a bunch of great questions. It does appear that this guy was in a commercial with the Thomas Crooks, the other guy, who supposedly took a shot at Donald Trump. And again, I want to remind you, maybe we'll go to Sidney Blumenthal here, or the Senator Blumenthal. I forget, is his name Sidney? I forget his name. But he came out from a briefing a couple of days ago and said, when the American people hear about what we're hearing about the assassination attempt in Butler, basically they're going to lose their shit. And how it's not incompetence, and that's a Democrat. Richard Blumenthal, thank you, Brian. You can correct me on air. That's fine. If you can get me to stop talking long enough to do it. But here's the thing: there's this constant debate over whether the guy who was shot at Butler is Thomas Crooks or this guy Urich. Okay, so I have one question: where the fuck is this Matthew Urich guy? Where is he? This Antifa guy. We haven't seen him. Nobody's seen him. Guess what? Since somebody got a bullet put through their ear hole in Butler, Pennsylvania. So we don't even know who the shooter was really in that first commercial. That first attempt. We just know that there's this bizarre connection and all these things are fitting together. And Steve, I want to go back to you. I want to revisit this. He was also found with ceramic in his backpack. Why would he have that? What would he use it for? Is it something you would put into like a vest that would act?
Vest. It's a
bulletproof.
It's a type of body armor.
It's a type of body armor.
It's a type of body armor. You put it in a vest, and it dissipates the hit of the round. It actually shatters on impact, and it dissipates the round.
Steve, have you ever been hit with a round? By the way, with a bulletproof vest on, have you ever been hit?
Negative. I've been shot without one on.
I understand that it practically knocks you out anyway. I mean, people say.
Oh, no, I mean, I've been around where guys got shot with bulletproof vests. I never wore one. I was one of those guys that, I was always too poor to have all the equipment that they have today. Actually, when they issued bulletproof vests, when I was first working, they wanted us to share them. So, they wanted us to put on a bulletproof vest that somebody had been wearing for like 8 hours, sweating in, and put it on and use it. And I wouldn't do that. But I have been around where several individuals were shot wearing a bulletproof vest, and they do go down. It hurts like hell. They can't breathe. Think about having a professional boxer punch you dead in the chest with nothing on. I mean, that's basically how it feels. It feels like your heart's going to stop, and it's hard to breathe and that type of thing. So you do go down. I mean, in combat, it's a little different with soldiers and Marines, especially. Their adrenaline's pumping. They get shot. They know that they've got to accomplish the mission. They know if they stop, they're in trouble. They keep going. But typically in a law enforcement environment, those guys go down.
This guy was he helped the Azov Battalion, which is, by the way, the 14th SS Grenadier Division from World War II. The war ended and they became Ukrainian soldiers right after the war. It's a Nazi element. He was helping Nazis in Ukraine. He also is associated, as somebody pointed out, BlackRock has billions invested in the Ukraine conflict. They know Trump will end it. So this guy appeared to be doing the bidding of others who want to make sure that Donald Trump does not become president, because he will put a stop to the endless wars and negotiate some sort of peace settlement in Ukraine. I want to go quickly also to the investigator, because there was a press conference on Sunday right after the attempted assassination. And this is a little bit bizarre because it turns out that the guy who gave the press conference, his excuse was, well, Donald Trump is not the sitting president. Therefore, we don't have to protect him or want to protect him.
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around him. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Fuck you.
So full of it.
Yeah.
You know, part of the deal is they patrol around, they check the bushes, they kick the bushes, they drive around the perimeter and continuously drive around the perimeter. And that guy had been there for 12 hours. They, had they done one turn around the perimeter, they would have found him easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just such bullshit. And they've got thermal imaging cameras that they can see people hiding in the bushes. They've got drones. They've got all this stuff that they can use to detect people who are hiding in different locations. I mean, a security guard, a freaking, minimum wage security guard would have found the guy on patrol.
Paul Blart Mall Cop could have found this guy. I mean, literally,
And I'm not bashing security guards. Anybody who works is wonderful in my book. So if any security guards are listening, I'm not bashing you. But I'm saying you would have done a better job than the Secret Service.
Yeah, and so again, you have to wonder. Again, it looks like a coordinated assassination attempt by all these different agencies and units. That guy is a radical left fucking Democrat piece of shit who had to scrub all of his social media before they would hire him for this position. So he's covering for the Secret Service. They didn't do a good job. Did an absolutely shitty job.
They need to hire like Whack and Hut or something. They do a better job.
Well, yeah, I mean, seriously. So, Blake, let's switch it now to who the mole might be. I guess we already talked about that with Lindsey Graham. Do you think there's anybody else who's selling out Trump on this information? I mean, is there somebody he trusts that we don't know about that we should be worried about in terms of being on the inside with Trump? They were really going after Laura Loomer this weekend, because she broke a whole bunch of information about Matthew Yerrick and Thomas Crooks. What do you think? What do you think of the direction of the pressure, where the pressure is coming from? Do you think that tells us anything?
I guess if I was going to pick a mole that as a household name, I have to go Mayorkas, or of course Christopher Wray. But it appears that, this was a complete setup from the beginning. As Steve's saying, they should have thermal drone that could have easily found this. They knew it in advance. He was willing to sit there for 12 hours.
Patrol would have found him.
Right. And he's also, I guess, allegedly had a GoPro ready to film it. The elites, the establishment elites wanted their snuff film of, up close of Trump getting shot.
This is the Secret Service for Barack Obama, inspecting every vehicle in and around Martha's Vineyard, coming in and out of there. So this notion that you don't protect former presidents the same way you protect a sitting president is absolutely epic bullshit. Go ahead, Blake. Keep going.
No, you're right. And especially one that had just survived an assassination attempt. I don't care if he was the former one. They should have had extra security at every event. So, somebody must have leaked this then. So
the very first thing you do when you're protecting someone, the very first thing you do is secure the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one thing you check is the perimeter. You send guys out to check the perimeter, to see who's out there, what's going on, and you stage them in different areas to respond to the areas that you can't see very well from the person that you're protecting. This is all total 100% bullshit.
All right, Brian, you shared something. I'm going to let you roll with it.
Yeah, I had my uncle Bruce Engelman. He wrote a book on the Kennedy assassination. He lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he talks about how there should be a double perimeter. You're not just the former president, which guarantees you permanent lifetime protection, you're also the leading candidate who's leading in any legitimate poll, set to be the next president in 52 days. My uncle Bruce, he said he should have a double perimeter, not just one perimeter, not just, well, you know, he's not the sitting president, so he didn't get a real Secret Service detail. But what this has me remembering is back in June, Senator Vance, J.D. Vance, and Matt Gaetz, they demanded answers on the U.S. government-linked Ukraine NGO, which published an enemies list of U.S. lawmakers. Do you guys remember that story from a few months ago?
Yep.
Definitely, Trump is not on the military-industrial complex list. He is not a favored member of that party. He doesn't write blank checks. He doesn't want endless wars and hundreds of thousands of body bags. So when it comes to this guy who's out there trying to recruit Afghani refugees to go to Ukraine to fight a proxy war on behalf of the deep state United States against the Russians because democracy? Like, I can't even follow this stuff anymore. But this guy that took these shots, that had the AK-47 and was out there for 12 hours camped out, this guy is absolutely connected to this Ukrainian circle jerk where they're absolutely obsessed with trying to poke the Russian bear into provoking some sort of a nuclear World War III. I understand the game plan. I don't understand the end game at all. But this is obviously connected to this Ukrainian nonsense that I wish it would stop.
In fact, here's Dr. Simon Godek posted this video. He was in a Azov propaganda video, and the Azov battalion is connected to the CIA. He's actually in this video put out by the Nazis in
Post of the action is to appeal to what leaders.
There he is.
Post of the action is to appeal to what leaders.
You know what I like? I like how they use a little bit of that microphone tinge. You get a little bit of that feedback to make it feel so real. This is all propaganda. But did you notice that feedback right there to really make it feel real? It felt super fake because of that to me, but I listen to those sorts of things.
Right, and there's another point here. Let me
Mike, can you pause? Scroll back real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause.
Time magazine, not on her.
I'm gonna pause right here just for a second.
Thank you so much. I think I know her name too. If her name is Amaranth, yeah, I know exactly who that is. But if you scroll right back up, it's the Trump being in trouble on the golf course thing with Time magazine.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
That is absolutely astonishingly, synchronistically unbelievable that the same group, Time Magazine, they were the ones that patted themselves on the back. Remember, like in Wag the Dog, where he wanted the credit. I want the credit. Time Magazine bragged about fortifying the election, and look at this. He's in trouble on the golf course. I can't believe that actually came out the week that another assassination attempted.
I do because look, I've followed these secret societies and these crazy ass motherfuckers for a long time, ever since I started working with Richard Hoagland and looking into what NASA was doing. And there is some rule written in the book somewhere that says you have to tell people what you're doing. It's not your responsibility to make sure they read it or make sure they understand it, but you have to put it out there what you're going to do. And it is a sick, weird, satanic ritual that these people are performing. Blake, Steve, any further comments on this right at the moment? We got a couple more points on this, but go ahead. Blake, Steve, Blake? Yeah, Blake?
It's bizarre. It's all seeming to shape up as another one of these shooters. And whether he's with CIA, FBI, military, industrial complex, Ukraine, I think Steve nailed it too. They are using this guy as an asset. He's got so much. He should have been in jail a long time ago. So he's a useful idiot that they can wind up. And this was their second big attempt, and hopefully the last.
Well, okay. So, by the way, we're scrolling through my Twitter feed, my likes. So that picture is something I like. Anyway, the wife of fat ass piece of shit traitor Alexander Vindman or Alexander Vindman. Blake, do you know?
Yeah, it's Alexander, I believe.
Alexander Vindman. tweeted this out right after it happened. No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. You know what? Fuck you, cunt. Fuck you. By the way, there's no price that anybody. I mean, you have to have sex with Vindman. Okay, this makes you a disgusting person. By the way, completely. And let's just so you know, the Vindman brothers have actually been working with Ukraine and for Ukraine for a long time. Alexander Vindman was one of the perjurers who perjured himself in front of everyone trying to get Donald Trump impeached. There's the fat boy. There's his ugly, you're fucking ugly, bitch. Ugly as sin wife. I got a question, and I want to throw this at Steve first, and then I want to hear Blake and Brian. The Vindmans are traitors to this country. They have done all kinds of things, including, of course, falsely testifying against Donald Trump to try to get him thrown out of office. Steve, what should happen to the Vindman brothers, Alexander and his twin, I don't know, Faggotus Vindman or whatever his name is?
They need to be prosecuted. They need to be publicly humiliated for what they did. And
feathered.
What's that?
Tarred and feathered or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. But I mean, they need to be publicly humiliated. It needs to be shown what they did. There needs to be a trial that is very public to show that they're lying pieces of filth, and they need to get the maximum sentence according to the law. All these people, they say, well, we're just giving our opinion. It was just our opinion. We weren't lying. It was just my opinion. Baloney. They come there, they present their argument as fact. If you present your argument as fact, then you need to accept the consequences of what you've said. If it's your opinion, then you need to say, look, this is totally my opinion. There's no basis in fact in what I'm saying, but this is what I believe. They don't do that. They go in and say, nope, this is absolute fact. So they need to be held accountable for what they've said.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. And then, we lost Brian. Blake, there's another aspect.
Pizza as well.
Okay, there's another aspect to this, which is literally hours after someone tried to kill the real president. Again, for the second time in 6 to 7 weeks. 60 Minutes ran a piece about how Donald Trump, and they didn't pull it even after they attempted to shoot him, about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy because of the fake riot of January 6th. Let's watch just.
Democracy stopped for about 6 hours. The vote was counted at 3:44 a.m. With 2 weeks until Inauguration Day, it was the Trump Justice Department that set the standards for the prosecutions. Decisions were made by career prosecutors who work at justice for years,
they have such integrity,
regardless of who the president.
Yeah, they have such integrity.
The career prosecutors quickly realized that you needed guidelines in place, determinations about who was going to be charged, who wasn't going to be charged, and what they would be charged with. That process started in January 7th, 2021, during the prior administration. To this day, we continue to use guidelines that the career prosecutors put in place during the prior administration.
Yeah, you know what? That guy looks to me, this guy looks like he has sucked more dicks than Richard fucking Simmons did when he was alive. You're a fucking faggot. You know what? And you deserve to fucking, I'm not going to say it, but I'll say it. You deserve to die. Look, every single one of these fucking people in the media, you guys are media. Blake, Brian, I'll go with Brian first and then Blake. What needs to happen to these guys? Remember, in the Nuremberg trials, the journalists who pushed the Nazi propaganda ended up under hanging from a noose. Is that what needs to happen to 90% of the U.S. media? Brian, yes or no? Am I overdoing it? And I don't want to get you in trouble, but it's my show, so it's only my channel that will get deleted. Go ahead.
You speak for you, Mike Barra. I will speak for me. I would say it's pretty obvious that the people involved in the fortification of 2020, the overthrow of the sitting president of the United States, like I said, the fortification, that's the credit that Time Magazine could not go a couple of weeks without patting themselves on their own back for. They rigged their election in a very specific number of ways, with drop boxes, with this, with that, with 100 different things, and no court of law has proven otherwise. They got away with what they got away with. But if it's proven, that's an overthrow of the United States. Now, you look at the Democrat Party, 3 straight Democrat primary seasons, they've rigged their own elections.
Yeah, exactly.
All their puppet candidates. So now Biden is the one who got the votes. Kamala, Obama, and Clinton, they staged another coup. Yes, I know you can't prove 2020 was a coup. Fine. But let's look at 2024. They obviously overthrew the sitting president of the United States. Now, by all metrics, he was a weekend at Bernie's candidate, lifting up the hand with the puppeteer with the hand on the strings, just waving. He's not there, but he's there. They staged a coup to get rid of him. And so the people involved in this, treason is a real crime. And if you're overthrowing the will of the United States people, if you are fortifying an election to the detriment of the actual voting populace in our constitutional republic, that's called treason. And there are ultimate penalties that you must pay per our legal code.
Yeah, it's either
why these people think they can get away with this stuff. I don't know how stupid they think we are, but the laundry list of shit that they've left a paper trail, the breadcrumb trail of their crimes to where we are today is a mile long, and it's all documented. Yeah. I'm telling you, if in 52 days sanity's restored to this country and they're not allowed to cheat again, the heads are about to roll, which is exactly why you're seeing them try to eliminate Trump now, because they know it's either his ass or theirs.
Yep.
And if we don't take him out now, he's coming after us. And you know what? You kind of brought it on yourselves.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Right after we make America great again, let's make the French Revolution great again. I think that everybody has to pay the ultimate highest penalty for the treason that they've committed, including all of those Turkish prison-loving lawyers at the DOJ that we just had on 60 Minutes. Blake, I want to get your opinion quickly on this. Like, what deserves to happen to these people in the media, or just anything you want to comment on about what's been said? I think the situation is, well, beyond the pale, but go ahead. You may not feel as intense as I do, but
I've got an interesting solution with that. But the Vindmans, yeah, it's pure projection. That's the best.
Blake, hold on. Your solution, is this the island solution?
Yeah, hold on a second. Right, I'll get to it.
Okay.
That's it. Rolling here. So on the Vindmans, this is all projection. The best case scenario for them is that Trump is dead, because then they could kind of vindicate themselves, because they know the guy's a buffoon. He's responsible for the impeachment. They were caught perpetuating a lie, and they're terrified if Trump gets back into power, he's going to get retaliation, and they absolutely deserve it. And maybe the penalty is treason. I guess my solution, which Brian is kind of alluding to, and it could be an island, it could be anything, but I'm thinking just like a prison-based reality show where all these people could be just, publicly shamed 24/7. They would always be on TV. We'd always be watching them and mocking them or what have you. But it could be turn them into entertainment as long as they have some entertainment value to provide to us.
I have always felt that the best place, Dave Barra, my brother, came up with this. Let's put them all on Sakhalin Island in southern Russia, northern Japan, and put them in there and wall the island off like an Escape from New York, Snake Plissken, and just never let them out and let them eat each other alive. Sounds like a plan to me. Steve, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know why. We've had news anchors, we've had professional people go on the national news and say that President Trump needs to be shot. I want to know why or taken out. They use terms that if you were to put that on Facebook, you would get a knock on the door from the Secret Service, and they would make your life a living hell. These people go, "Oh, I just misspoke. I didn't mean to say that." But they say it days after they have already made the comment. So I want to know why the Secret Service isn't knocking on their door and taking them in and questioning them for suggesting that the President of the United States be shot or killed or taken out, or whatever terminology they use, on national television, when just a rank and file individual who says, I know a guy this is the truth. I was working I was a director of a medical facility, correctional medical facility. And we had a guy in there who just basically, he was sent to prison because he just said Obama should die. And he actually got prison time for it. So, you've got these people on the national news saying that Donald Trump needs to be shot, and nothing happens to them. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even get questioned. They don't even send the Secret Service to talk to them.
No, which brings me to the next thing I was going to go to, but this is interesting. The Batman says Don Jr. appears to have a new girl. The Guilfoyle Jr. engagement might be off. Could she, having been previously married to Gavin Newsome, could Kimberly Guilfoyle be the mole? What do you think?
So you think Kimberly is the leak?
What do you think?
That's pretty.
Well, I brought that up before.
It's possible, but yeah.
I brought that up before. It was like, she was married to Gavin Newsom. She was heavily connected to the Democratic Party.
Victoria's Secret model, and we know all about the sexual abuse of Victoria's Secret with their models.
So, I always wondered how, she flipped over and became, super conservative and a Trump supporter. But I am by no means saying that she's done anything wrong at this point.
This is really
there's no evidence at this juncture.
Yeah, this is really interesting what you just brought up, Steve, because let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about civil rights. There was an incident this week where a guy who posted some memes and a few things on Twitter, on social media, was basically accosted by feds. They sent feds to his house to harass them. And let's look at how he handled it, because I think it's very Steve Dornish here.
Sorry, guys. I lost my power. I was trying to replug it in.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's watch what happened when the FBI visited Jerry Kaufman's house for the regime.
This is a master. Take note.
Hey there. Hey, Jeremy?
Yeah.
How are you?
Who are you?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Can you give your full name, please?
I'm Agent O'Donnell with the FBI.
Is that sufficient to identify as the only one O'Donnell affiliated with the FBI?
In New Hampshire, yes.
Could you please state your full name, sir?
Could you please stop recording?
No. It's First Amendment right. What's your name, sir?
Could you stop recording?
Absolutely not. You can show me your name and identification. Or
They are trained to say that. They are trained to say that.
I don't really want to broadcast my.
Oh, this is going out right after you guys walk away.
So that's why I'm not going to.
So you can show me your name and ID. You can walk away.
We just want to talk about something.
I'm not going to talk to people who claim to be federal agents unless they can show me identification.
Okay, well, you see our badges.
I need to see. Is your full name on that badge?
No.
I'd like to see something with your full name, or I'm not going to talk to you.
You're required to show you identity.
This will be going online as soon as you walk away.
Well, all I want to do is talk to you about a post that was made, and if you happen to be the one that made the post.
I want to talk to you about you guys coming here. Say you make a salary of, I don't know what, low 100K? You guys making six figures? Factor in 50% expenses, overhead, maybe 100% expenses. Talking about burning a couple $100 an hour just here, let alone all the time you guys are spending to investigate something that you know is not against the law, right? Like you're familiar with. So then why would you come?
Because we wanted to make sure that there weren't any.
No, you're coming because you're part of a regime that does this kind of thing when you know laws aren't being broken, and that's an embarrassment, man. Didn't you guys read the Constitution? Do you not believe in America? Like, how do you do your jobs and go home?
We appreciate it.
You're walking away. Because nothing we did is against the law, and you guys are fuckheads that try to act like bullies. And I hope you go home and are embarrassed. You can't even say your name on camera because you know that what you're doing is embarrassing. You know Americans that believe in the Constitution think you're laughable. And you go home and you think about what you did today. Go home and think about it, you cowards. Drive away. Drive away.
Thank you for your time.
You're not welcome.
You're
You
not
should be
welcome.
embarrassed. Embarrassing. You guys are embarrassing.
This is the best part. the best part. All right.
Hey, how can I help you?
All right, Mr. Kaufman, I got to give you kudos for that one. Steve, what did you think about that particular encounter? Since
it was definitely, I mean, they were there to bully the guy.
Yeah,
there's no question. They were trying to scare him. The very first thing you do is show someone your identification if you're on an official investigation. Anybody can buy a badge. Anybody can put a gun on their hip. I'm not talking to anybody. Well, first of all, I'm not talking to anybody for any reason. My thing is I don't make statements. But the reality is that when somebody comes up to your house, they are required to show you their official identification and tell you who they are. The fact that they refused to do that tells you that he was exactly right. They were there to bully him.
Yep.
They were there to try to scare him to shut his mouth or stop doing whatever it is that he's doing. And, that's not what
that's not a lot. That's not a peace officer's job, is it, Steve?
It's a peace officer's job is to keep the peace, not bully people.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, if they worked for me and I saw that video, they would be terminated instantly. I'd say, why? If you were on an official investigation, why did you refuse to tell him your name and show him your identification?
They both did.
And they would be fired immediately.
Well, unfortunately, Steve, what we need is a lot more guys like you in charge of FBI and DOJ and a lot less of these fucking pricks. Blake, any thoughts on that encounter? I don't know. Did you see that video earlier today or this week?
Yeah, we played it earlier, and it's great to see again. Maybe they would be fired if they didn't do it. That's how crazy things are with this administration. But it does show the absurdity of all that, and it should be a lesson to other feds if they're going to see that. Because now these guys, this is a major viral video, and they're going to be embarrassed, and they 100% deserved it. Whether they volunteered, they wanted to, or they were ordered to, this is not something that's acceptable. I mean, this is kind of why we started this country and had a revolt against the former administration, the British, because you got British soldiers coming to your house and asking, "Oh, are you the one that made these pamphlets?" Except they could, go into your house and grab everything, which is why we have a Fourth Amendment. Of course, we have a First Amendment, so we could say all that stuff in the first place. So, yeah, it's a interesting look at history, but good stuff. Nice video.
Brian, I wish every American knew that when the FBI or somebody like that came to question you, to act exactly the same way. Give me your ID. Let me take a picture of it, and then I'll talk to you outside my house. You don't get to come in. What do you think?
I had an experience like that. Like Blake was saying, we did cover that on the Agree to Disagree show earlier today on the New American Media, which was cool.
Excellent show.
And it's thank you. And by the way, you have an open invite. We need to bring you on for one of these shows one of these days. But
I'm usually too busy doing Seahawks videos when you guys are on. So, that's the way I got my priorities, buddy.
Appreciate that. Thank you. I will say last year, I was on the phone with a journalist friend of mine. I guess we could just leave it at that. And I got a knock on the door, and it was a U.S. Marshal. And the U.S. Marshal wanted to ask permission to park their car in my driveway to observe something close that they were investigating / they were running some sort of operation, and they were being sketchy. I asked for their names. They gave me half of their name. I said, "What's your full name?" They wouldn't give me their full name. I said, "Let me take a picture." They said, "No, we can't have cameras." I said, "Well, my Ring camera is getting all of this, so you can either give me your information or not." I'm telling you, every time someone knocks on your door, they will not give you all of their information. They will be sketchy. You should not trust them. I don't know when this changed. When I talked to my Uncle Bruce today, we were talking about JFK to the current assassination attempts on Trump. I said, when did the federal agencies look inward and turn antagonistic toward the United States citizens? And he said it was the late 50s, early 60s, roughly when they offed Kennedy. But we grew up in this world where there were FBI and CIA, and they were the good guys. But these people who knock on your door now, they obfuscate who they are. They will not provide proper identification. They'll give you just the bare minimum, sort of, even though it's not a passing grade. and you can't trust any of them. So I don't know where we find ourselves in 2024, but every election I've been a part of, as far as presidential, it seemed like, well, this is the most important election in American history. But this one actually feels like it's the last off ramp that we have before this car cruises off the Grand Canyon. When Thelma and Louise go into
Thelma and Louise thing, into the Grand Canyon. I agree.
We have one last chance to steer the car. Otherwise, we're going into a cliff, and there's no off ramp. So I don't know how we navigate forward, but you can't trust anyone knocking on your door. Call a lawyer, record everything, don't say anything, don't admit anything. Listen and run them off your property, because the Gestapo were coming for all of us. Steve, I think it was you said that Trump, they're not coming after Trump. They're coming after all of us.
Yep.
And that's just where we find ourselves right now.
Yep.
This isn't a war. This isn't a war against Trump. It's a war against the American people. It's to put you in a position where they can control you 100%. They can make you move out of your home. They can make you, take your property from you. They can regulate things through executive order, which should be completely illegal.
It is illegal.
No president, I don't care who he is, I don't care Trump, anybody, no president should be able to regulate through executive order. That is absolutely ridiculous and goes against the Constitution.
It does, and the only reason they get away with it is because the United States has been in a state of emergency since 1932, when Roosevelt created all of these false, fake agencies that are extra constitutional, and that all we have to do to stop all of them is Trump just needs to get in and first day and say, cancel the state of emergency. All of these agencies, EPA, Department of Energy, FBI, CIA, cease to exist.
But Mike,
in that moment.
I think in the MAGA administration with Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard, I really think that if he trusts some of these voices, we are going to totally reimagine what the U.S. government can be. That's why they're terrified. Their cash cow is about to dry up because we're going bankrupt. We're completely bankrupt. We are weekend at Bernie's ourselves. We are upside down fiscally. We're just going through the motions here. We don't have the money to pay what people expect us to pay. But Trump in office could reimagine all of government. That's why they're so terrified.
And the good news is it's all paper money. It's all monopoly money. It's all debt. And all you have to do to pay it off is print a 0.9999 pure gold coin in the denomination of $34 trillion, 1 ounce gold coin, take it to the Federal Reserve window and say, there, you're paid. Bye-bye. That's all we have to do. It costs about $2,000 to get us out of that $34 trillion in debt because it's all fake paper money bullshit. All right. That's what I think Trump will do. I think we will go back on a gold standard, and that will be the end of this. All right, Steve, I want to ask you one more question about these two guys. Do you believe they were federal officers from their demeanor?
I believe they're federal agents. I mean, there's no doubt they were federal agents. But, I want to go back to my original statement. The only thing you should be saying to them is identify yourself. If you won't identify yourself, as far as I'm concerned, you are criminally trespassing, and I will take whatever action is necessary to remove you from my property, because anybody can go to any store and buy a stupid badge, put a gun on their hip, and walk up to my house. I consider you a threat, so show me some ID, or you've got about 30 seconds to get off my property. If they show you ID and they are legitimate, then you say, I don't make any statements unless I'm with my attorney. So I'm not saying anything to you. You know who I am. My name is Steve Doran. That's all I'm going to say. And you should be recording this on your phone or your Ring camera, whatever the case may be. And I don't make any statements without my attorney present, period. And if they go, well, what do you got to hide? It's like, don't you believe in the Constitution, jackass? It's like, obviously, you did not pass your examination on the Constitution because I have a right to remain silent. So go screw yourself. Yeah. If you want to talk to me, this is my attorney's phone number, and everybody should have an attorney. Everybody should go out, find a good attorney, and have his card in your pocket, his phone number on speed dial, and say, this is my attorney. Call him and make arrangements, and we will meet at his office. You will not come back to my home. I'm telling you, don't come back to my home unless you have a warrant. And as long as you're recording it, you're good, because they can't come back and say that you threatened them in any way or that you did anything wrong, because they didn't identify themselves. I mean, how many criminals come up? You look at New York City. This happens all the time. They'll put on a gas company uniform.
Yeah.
They'll knock on somebody's door. The people will say, "Oh, I'm with the gas company. There's a leak. We want to check." People let them in because they're wearing a uniform. They get robbed, murdered, raped, killed. I mean, all kinds of things go on. If somebody does not have the correct credentials, you don't have to have any. In fact, they're committing a crime, and they should not be on your property.
Right. Here's what I think you should say to him, actually.
Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself.
Or, there's another option. You can choose
best edit of the year, by the way. Best edit of the year.
You can choose the high road and do this instead. Actually.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
All right, that's what I'm doing.
Man,
I'm literally
hostile. You are hostile.
Fuck your own face. That would be the only way to really top that thing off. Would be to just if you just said, "Oh, by the way, guys, just go home and fuck your own face." That's what I would have done. But anyway, But me, I'd get the shit kicked out of me and been in prison. Another thing too to remind you guys of is let me see if I can get this off.
Mike, I just want to give you an internet Emmy for those back-to-back clips right there. Those are fantastic. You get an internet Emmy award for those.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Another thing you can do too is do not sign anything. They'll say, "Oh, sign here for your
never,
your possessions," because hidden in the language in there is their permission to imprison you. And if you don't sign it, they literally can't hold you. They will try. They might keep you there for 2 or 3 days, but sooner or later, they are going to have to let you go, usually within 3 or 4 days, because unless you agree to be imprisoned, you cannot be imprisoned. You cannot be. So don't sign.
They can hold you for 24 hours. That's it.
There you go. All right. A couple other issues before we get out of here.
Unless, of course, you're on the Capitol, then they hold you and put you in all
3 years. Yeah.
Make you
Yeah.
Mike, before we get to the rest of the lingering issues, I just wanted to. It's an 18-second clip. It's something Steve brought up a moment ago. I just wanted to play this because it really it matches the zeitgeist, the mood, or the feeling of the times. This is what Democrats say versus what Republicans say. I just wanted to make sure everybody heard Representative Plaskett talking to MSNBC. Here we go.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
He needs to be stopped, Mike. Stopped.
Wow, that
where's the Secret Service?
That cunt needs to be removed from free society. Blake, anything you want to add to that particular clip?
Maybe she's brainwashed by their own propaganda. She actually believes that stuff, and she's a useful idiot. She's actually thinks she's justified in saying this, but then you have that kind of Freudian slip there. But that's how they really feel. Yeah, I don't know her, so it could go either way. But they are dangerous people, and they will arrest every single one of us and throw Trump in prison forever.
Yeah, well, what's Trump going to release? What's so scary? The Epstein client list? Is that what scares you, bitch? Who really killed Kennedy? It was MJ-12. Is that what scares you, bitch? I mean, all Trump's going to do is tell people the truth, and that's what scares them. And God, we're so close to this. I just hope we can get through it. I hope we can get through it. Okay. Steve, you're a big P. Diddy fan, right? You're a big P. Diddy guy.
Oh, yeah. I know.
P. Diddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't nobody hold him down. Oh, no.
No.
He's got to keep on.
No, I was one of the original people involved in the East Coast, West Coast thing, whatever the
rap thing. Yeah, the rap wars. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was involved in that.
Yeah, okay. P. Diddy got arrested last night, and here he is with one of his best friends, Hillary Clinton, just a couple years ago. Let's watch that real quick.
How does a brother survive jail without being Epsteined?
Well, since you have a lot of shit on us, we're probably going to get you Epsteined as soon as you go to sleep. But hey, at least you won't have to shower, am I right? So anyway, enjoy your last meal, Puffy.
How does a bro...
That's from earlier today.
Artificial intelligence for the win. The internet remains undefeated.
That was the best interview I've ever seen of Hillary Clinton.
What do we think, Blake?
Honest.
I mean, come on, guys. Let's be serious. Is Diddy a white hat or a black hat? Is he going to spill the beans on Hollywood and the music industry even more than it's already been spilled? What do you think? What do you think,
If he
Brian?
gets a chance, he'll do it.
Yeah, he's a Hollywood.
I don't know if he's going to get the chance.
That's a good point. When Diddy originally ended up in his turmoil, they were going through the house and the reports were saying, oh no, they're just cleaning up the evidence. Oh no, they're just sweeping it to make sure this story doesn't come out. Then they're going to off him in the jail. But yeah, this was obviously, it was a Hollywood honeypot. I had been invited to a couple of Hollywood honeypots when I lived out there. I'm glad that I did not participate in any of these sketchy little things. However, yeah, I think this goes into the music business, the entertainment business, television and movies. I think it's athletes. I think Diddy was the urban pop.
Urban Epstein.
That Epstein was doing for financiers on Wall Street and in politics. I think it was the same type of honeypot thing. Absolutely.
Blake, what do you think? Does P. Diddy make it to Christmas time, or does he make it? I mean, we've got all these guys. We've got Ghislaine Maxwell, who a friend of mine actually knew. We have P. Diddy, and we have Julian Assange. And if they all start talking, if they all are able to talk, it brings a whole huge house of cards down. You think they're going to get a chance to talk, Blake, or not? And then give us the rest of your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't. He might not last too long. I mean, yeah, they wouldn't even grant him bail or anything. I think there's too many loose ends there. He knows too much. Yeah, he's definitely. I agree with Brian. Is definitely part of the music industry and corrupting and blackmailing people. And he has been involved in some really awful stuff. And you could throw Justin Bieber in there. Not that he did anything, but I mean, taking advantage of people and getting them on video to do stuff. He's definitely very similar to Epstein. Very unusual. He's going to go to the same spot. And I don't know if they're actually going to try to use the same playbook, but I guess they could. It'd be interesting if we could get some information out of him. I know Steve Bannon had a chance to interview Epstein, but I don't know if we ever saw those tapes released. So I would be curious to know if P. Diddy could talk. I just don't think they can make a deal, and I think they would probably put him away before he ever.
Why do you think they put Steve Bannon in prison for crimes that Democrats don't get sent to prison for? Brian, Steve, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that any of these whistleblowers are going to get a chance to talk, or criminals? They could be in on it. They could be.
Well, I mean, I believe that they're 100% in on it. I mean, he made millions, and I mean, if you really look at a lot of these people who are in, who are famous and considered, top tier actors, actresses, singers, and whatnot, they have no talent whatsoever. They're put in that position because of what they can do for the system, and who they can screw, who they can set up with, young girls, fans, that type of thing. And if he starts running his mouth, a lot of people are going to go down, both in the private sector and the public sector. Mm-hmm. And that's what they don't want. So you will see that he will either be silenced or he won't speak because he's been threatened, one of the two. And if he does speak, it will be in generic terms about people that nobody cares about, and those people will be arrested.
Well, will they really go down? Because here's the thing, that the jurisprudence system is so corrupt. The FBI, the DOJ, we've seen it all tonight. They're so fucking corrupt that even if he says I P. Diddy little girls and little boys, and so did all these other people, so did Leonardo DiCaprio and everybody else, Tom Hanks, what's going to happen? I mean, is anything going to really happen to any of these people? Because there's no fucking justice in this country anymore, is there? Brian, am I wrong?
when Blake and I went to Washington, D.C. for January 6th, we stopped. We were making our path from where Trump was speaking over to the Capitol. And about halfway through, Blake, it was the Department of Justice. And we stopped and we were filming. And they were yelling, "Do your job. Do your job. Do your job." The people know what's not happening. The country's been overtaken. Like we're currently living under hostile circumstances. Our government has been fortified, overthrown. And will anything happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think the honeypots have exposed themselves both in Hollywood and on Wall Street. We've seen it in the Caribbean. We've seen it in Los Angeles. We're kind of starting to get an understanding of why people don't vote in a way that makes sense and protects their constituents versus, did you take the bribe or have you been blackmailed? That's kind of all we're looking at. Are you bribed and blackmailed, or are you an American patriot? You're only in one of two camps. There is no shade of gray in this circumstance.
Negative. Yep. That's 100% true. If you vote against the wishes of the American people or your constituents,
or you're trying to undermine them,
you are a traitor. You're absolutely 100% a traitor.
I think that Blake, you have anything you want to add to this before we go to the last issue? Or
yeah, I mean, it's all dependent. If we want things to change, it's going to have Trump is going to have to win, and then there's the hard. Well, that's the hard part, and then the hardest part is there's going to have to be some sort of a peaceful transfer of power, and he's actually going to get sworn in with nothing happen, and there could be any number of things that the deep state or the globalists or whatever is going to play in their playbook to prevent that from happening.
Just one quick point on what Blake just said. I've tried to stay out of. I do the New American Media, and I do it balls to the wall every single day. But in my personal accounts, I don't get into any of it because I just don't want to push people away. But now I'm getting into it on my personal accounts. I'm getting into it because I don't see another off ramp to this, and it's just trying to figure out. Where do we go if we don't get this sorted out? I don't know that we have much of a country left. So it's just everything has to be dumped on the table right now.
Yeah.
And we have 51 days, 52 days to figure out if we're going to fall into some totalitarian communist nightmare, or are we going to start putting people in jail where they belong for subverting the rule of law and the will of the people in our constitutional republic? Yes or no?
It's what you said earlier. You said, they are against or hate the American people. It's not that. It's America itself that they hate. It is everything that is supposed to be America. And they all sold us out. They all took the bribe, and they all have to pay the price for that, as big a price as we can make them pay. Like I said, make America great again, make the French Revolution again, great again. It's just fucking time. All right, one last thing in international affairs, which I found absolutely fucking hilarious today, which is, guess what? The Israelis hacked into the pagers of Hamas and Hezbollah today. I think it was mostly Hezbollah. And guess what? They set the phasers to overload, and lo and behold, a whole bunch of Hezbollah terrorists got their balls blown off because they had their fucking pagers in their pockets. Let's oh, these poor terrorists!
That's a lot of
Lebanon.
Look
at this guy. Look at this guy in the back. Where's your help, buddy?
We're not screaming Allah Akbar right now.
No. Oh, bummer.
Oh.
All right, there's one more. There's another video up here which is even more hilarious. How about this one? This is a picture. Oh man, look at all that juicy flesh there. Say goodbye to your nuts, buddy. They're on the floor. They're gone. Fuck you guys. Fuck you, terrorists. I think this is one of the ultimate trolls of all time. They hacked their pagers because they were using pagers so they couldn't be monitored in their communications instead of cell phones. They overloaded the batteries. This makes me concerned. I'm going to take this. I'm going to hold it well away from my crotch from now on. Steve, what do you think of that? I think I thought it was
awesome. That is like one of the most awesome things I've seen in the last several years. That was a great play on behalf of Israeli intelligence. Is all I got to say. I mean, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, some people say that they might have put pagers, explosives into the pagers. I don't know, Brian. What do you
did? So what?
Yeah, so what?
Yeah, I'm reading here on CNN 43 minutes ago. At least 9 people dead, around 2,800 injured in Lebanon in an attack targeting the pagers of Hezbollah.
Hey, man, that's a great way to take out 2,800 terrorists, baby.
I'll tell you what. I mean, Elon Musk has asked. He's put it out on X. He's done these snap polls where Trump, by the way, in the snap poll, Trump versus Kamala, Trump's winning 75-25, 80-20. It's not even close. It's the biggest embarrassing blowout. But he has repeatedly asked, if we made an X phone, would you buy it? Gentlemen, can I ask you that? Blake and Mike and Steve, if Elon Musk made an X phone,
I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Yes.
I would buy it. I would buy the first. I'd be one of those buttholes standing in line for 6 hours to get it.
When he creates Xmail, I'm all in on Xmail. I'm going to do that. Absolutely. Blake, what do you think?
I would be very concerned holding either a Samsung or an Apple in my pocket after watching that. If that could happen once, it can happen again, folks. So I don't know exactly how that went to Hezbollah and it targeted Hezbollah only. But if they can do it there, they can do it in our pockets. And if the bad guys are in charge, I like to play a game called If I Were a Bad Guy. So if I were Obama, Biden, Harris, whatever the deep state's called these days, you don't think I would press that little button and hurt a bunch of conservative libertarian constitutionalists?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. That gives me a little pause as to what I'm walking around with each day. I know it's a recording device that listens to my innermost thoughts and advertises things I only thought into the ether. I didn't even speak out loud. But now that they're exploding, look, drone warfare and cell phones exploding, that's 2024, folks. How are we going to protect ourselves from that? I don't know. But welcome to a new terror that will keep me up at night.
TV's Blake. I put the phone well away from my head at night. TV's Blake Wally. Any thoughts about this latest move by the Mossad? I thought it was fucking hilarious. What do you think?
That's absolutely terrifying technology, and who knows what other creative ways they can come up with to kill us. But maybe one day it's bad guys from Hezbollah, and the next day it's American patriots. So we got to be vigilant on that. I'm a little bit skeptical about that one and about the Mossad as well, but we'll assume they were bad guys and deserve.
Well, I think what the American people should know is get off your cell phone, start using your brain, quit looking at it 80 freaking hours a day. And I mean, one of the things that I'm very grateful of is I'm not married to my cell phone. I literally use it for phone calls and text messages once in a while.
Yeah.
These people who live on their cell phones and just constantly look at the screens, they're the ones who are vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because they're vulnerable to the propaganda and everything else that they stream through there that you don't even know that's being implanted in your brain.
Right. Yep, it's new electronic warfare. That's where we're at. Okay, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. It was a long show tonight. I got two more streams to do. I did 3 today. Sean Kenny, by the way, my interview was Sean Kenny from Star Trek, who played scarred Captain Pike in the Star Trek the Original Series episode The Menagerie. I had a great interview with Sean today. They got a new project called Alien Cross, which is going to be loads of fun, and who knows, maybe I'll be in it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Steve Dorr and Trail Boss. You guys are all awesome. I'm going to go have some pizza. I'm going to kick back, and there's no sports on tonight except maybe the Mariners. I'm going to watch maybe the Mariners game. Love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow with Jen. We're going to be on a little bit late. I have a doctor's appointment, so I might be on 10:15, 10:30 Pacific time, 1:15, 1:30 Eastern time for Tell the Truth Wednesday. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay strong. Let's get ready to rumble. See you guys soon.
Adios.